All right. Today we are talking about pre-orders, which is something that as authors, we've been able to do for uh, many years now. Many years. Now, that being said, I'm going to give you the goods. I'm going to give you the bad. I'm going to give you the ugly. Okay. On this for me. Um, Back in the day, pre-orders were wonderful. Wonderful. I have all of my data in front of me. I might give you specific books. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell you, and in this year, whatever, kind of play it by ear. I take no notes. I don't edit this at all. I want to thank everybody before we start for hitting the subscribe button. I want to thank everybody for following along on my YouTube journey here. This is a lot of fun. I am always looking for new content. So if you have a question for me about writing, if you have a question for me about anything really, I will answer it. I will make a video. I will probably forget who told me about who gave me the question, but you know what I'm saying. You'll know. You can even comment on the post and say, I gave you that question. So back in the day, back in the dawn of time, pre-orders for authors were a pretty good move. You could set it up. I think originally it was maybe like a month out or something. I don't remember what the rules were. I remember they expanded it to like more than say 4 to 6 weeks. So I knew I was having a book coming out. I would set up the page. I would hopefully at that point have the cover for it. I could put the cover up. Even if the book wasn't finished being edited and stuff, I could just put a placeholder book up there. So basically just put a file up of anything and then freak out because if I don't get this book edited or whatever, we're going to have a problem. And I put out books back then, self-publishing 10, 15 years ago. I was writing a book and I mean, it was edited. Like my editor would be like, here's your book back. And I'd be, thank you. Boom. I'm going to put this up for pre-sale for the month and then do my edits in that month. Piece of cake, get the book up. And it worked. It worked because on day one, I got some orders, right? Day one, your book comes out January 1st, let's just say. And on January 1st, all those books that were pre-ordered all start to drop. Those are all sales. It helps your algorithm. It helps your first day, on and on and on. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful way to start a book. The first one I see in here, now I'm going through, I don't use any of the fancy schmancy ones to check my book sales. I used to have Book Report before that went away. And there was another one I can't remember that would, but I don't use those anymore. I just go through KDP. And so it goes back to 2014. Oh, it's nice and easy. It gives you the pre-order. So it tells you that on August 15th, so it was longer. Because August 15th, 2014 was the start date of my pre-order. And November 11th, 2014 was the end. And that was Dying Days Origins 2. So I would imagine I probably had more, but it only counts for, I don't know, let's just go back 12 years. 2,201 pre-order sales. Okay, so I mean, that's 2,200 sales on that. That's pretty good. All right, and then just going through Dying Days 5, 720. Dying Day 6, 670. So we had some sales, you know what I'm saying? Dying Day 7, 580. Dying Days 8, 670. Now, in October of 2017, and it was only 5 weeks, 9 days, it was the pre-order was only 300. So we're starting to go down a little bit, but we're still in the hundreds. Okay, we're into 2018 now. We're still in the hundreds. You know, Dirty Deeds 8 in 2020 for about 10 weeks, 150. Shakedown, when Shakedown came out, 440. So that's January 2022. Okay, so we're still doing well. Okay, we're still doing well. Some of the other ones in that First Coast Road series, 430, 520, 540, 610. The last book in that series, 460. I mean, those are sales. Okay. Dirty Deeds 12. Dirty Deeds 11 only had 80. That's in 2023. 2024, Dirty Deeds 12 only had 110. Down and Dirty Book 1 in 2024, 70. Book 2 was 50. Book 3 was 170. Then 120, then 90, and then book 6. Okay, so I go from April to July was the window for the pre-order for Down and Dirty Book 5. 90, which is not great. Some people might say, well, now you're being an idiot. That is great. 90 sales. Here's the problem. Down and Dirty Book 6, which I have great sell-through. I think it's like 78% sell-through, whatever it was last time I checked. Down and Dirty Book 6. Start date was July 2025, and the release date wasn't until October. So that's August, September, October. 3 months. I'd count my fingers. 3 months. 6 pre-orders. Not 60, not 6,000, not 6. Permafrost that just came out in March 2026. Now, listen, it was a week. I put it up for a week, but 0 pre-orders on it. And I'm seeing a pattern on other ones as well. Like when me and Tom Duffy, when we did the low tide, rising tide, high tide, those were up for at least a month to 2 months. 3 pre-orders, 7 pre-orders, 4 pre-orders. Listen, I know it's a brand new series, but you would think and we were, releasing them every January 15th, February 15th, March 15th. You would figure more people would buy the second, and then more people would buy the third. Less people bought the third on pre-order. So it's just it has been a steady decline from thousands to hundreds to tens of books, and that's just the way it is. Okay. Now, me as a reader, I don't pre-order stuff usually. I don't worry about that. I just go, oh, so like here's a great example. Avonwood Exile by Chad Lutsky came out. Whenever it came out in March. And on my planner, I wrote down the day on the planner. I put a little check and I wrote Lutsky on it. Why? Because that was good enough. I knew on that day to go in and buy the book. Not a big deal. I wasn't going to pre-order the book. And now maybe that hurts the author. I don't know. But I think my mindset at this point is I got a billion books to read. I really want to read that book. I knew I was going to read that book. I did a review of the book. Check it out. Great book. But it wasn't like, I was going to forget and I was never going to remember that book I was supposed to read 5 years ago? No, that didn't. None of that happens. So that's kind of what I look at as a reader and as a writer. It's one of those things that used to be real big, and you'll see some old YouTube videos, you'll see some blog posts, you see some MySpace pages, and basically what it is it works. Pre-orders are great. Pre-orders are that extra layer, blah 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 blah. But it doesn't work anymore, in my opinion. Again, Armand's opinion. I'm sure, and I hope there are authors right now that are watching this video and saying, "Well, you're wrong because my pre-orders have only gone up." That's awesome. Okay, there was an author that used to do pre-orders, and they would be happy if they got 10. They were ecstatic. One time I remember he got like 24 pre-orders on his book. And he was like, I normally get like 6 or 7. And I was like, okay, I would not be happy with that. But that's, again, doing this for so long. So will I do pre-orders again? Probably not. Probably not. The only reason I do like Permafrost was a week before. The only reason I did it was because the book was done and I knew the date, and pre-orders help that book to get dropped on that date. Because sometimes you worry, oh, I want this book to come out on a specific day. Okay, I want my book to come out on March 10th. And then you jump up there on, say, March 9th, and you put it through, figuring out it'll take 24 hours, and it drops in like 2 hours. And now your book releases March 9th. Or you put it up, and then Amazon is something happened. What are we making so much noise out here for? People, you got to do this now. And you look at you drop the book, and then all of a sudden it's like 3 days goes by. And then now my book is released March 12th or 13th. So pre-order is good for making sure your book, hopefully, unless there's a problem in Amazon, hopefully your book gets dropped. And I don't worry about going wide and all that stuff. I'll do another video about going wide at some point. Maybe soon. So for me, pre-orders just don't do it. They just don't do what they're supposed to do what they used to do. And I think it's just we've trained our readers, right? We've trained our readers to just go by the book. We've trained our readers a lot of times that with like series that are never finished. There's a lot of authors, and not just indie authors. I'm talking big authors who either pass away, or they realize this series is not making me any money, or a number of other things, and they never finish a series. And it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, especially if you're like, hey, I'm on book 3 and there's a cliffhanger. When are we getting book 4? It's kind of like your favorite TV show, and then they end the season on a cliffhanger, and then the show gets canceled. I tell my wife all the time, John Doe season 1 with what's that guy's name? Whoever the guy's name was my favorite show, John Doe. And it ends on a cliffhanger. And then that was it. And it was like their number 1 show on a Friday night, and then they kept moving it around. They kept changing the time. They really messed with it. And then they ended up canceling it. John Doe, look it up. Phenomenal show. 1 season. I can't think of the guy's name now. I got to look that up now. See, now this stuff is not going to be edited out. Yeah. John Doe. Dominic Purcell. I can't believe I couldn't remember. Dominic Purcell, William Forsythe, John Marshall Jones. Great show. 21 episodes. Final episode was 2003. The first was September 2002. It was on USA Network. Great show. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. So that's the problem. I think we've trained the reader that I mean, I know a lot of people. I know definitely I can look at my book sales and I can say, and that's why I make it a big point to go, hey, this is the 6th and final book of this series. This is the 12th and final book of this series, whatever. And then I start seeing a gradual build of sales at that point because people realize this thing is complete. I can read this entire story. And we're in the age of binge watching Netflix. So we want to binge watch these things. That's why book boxes, box sets are so big. That's why people have been asking me, people have been saying, hey, are you going to do, before I start buying the individual Dirty Deeds books, are you ever going to do a box set? And I'm like, I am. They will be coming this year. It's another way for me to make money with them. It's also a way for you to read like the first 4 books, the next 4 books, the last 4 books kind of thing at a good price. So I kind of look at it, pre-orders, as it's one of those things, it's that footnote in my career. Again, 40 years doing this, 15 years full-time. I've seen every trend, every fad, everything come and go. And pre-orders for me is definitely that. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I was doing, thousands of pre-orders on a book. And now I'm doing, if I'm hitting at 10, yeah, I mean, I hit 6 pre-orders. I'm hitting 4 So for me to put the book up, it makes sense. Also, listen, as another video said, I'm not going to be doing a ton of self-publishing coming up. I have, 3-4 books that I will be putting up in the next, say, 18 months. But otherwise, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be self-publishing a lot. I want to get into working with more publishers, bigger publishers, an agent, all that. So I'm still working on all that stuff. That mindset hasn't changed. I've had people be like, why? I thought you weren't putting out any more horror books. I thought you weren't putting out any more this and that. What Permafrost came out. I'm like, it's not a horror book. It's a post-apocalyptic survival book. But it's again something that is in the queue for me, up on my board, that needs to be released in the next 18 months or so. So not a big deal. Pre-orders, did they go to the way of the dodo? I don't know. Pre-orders for me are something that might come back around, something that might get used again. I'm not really sure. All I do know is that will I use it again? Sure. Never say never. Never say, oh, that's done, that's over with. There's a lot of stuff in this business that circles back around. There's a lot of stuff in this business that didn't work for a long time. Box sets were something that didn't work for a long time. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing big sales in comparatively speaking, big sales in those now. So I don't know. Again, let me know what works for you if you're a writer. Are you doing pre-orders? Are you still doing pre-orders? Have you always thought about pre-orders, but you've never done them? Or do you have your first book coming out and you're wondering if you should set up a pre-order? I mean, there are all these questions, and I would love to hear your opinion on it. You've heard Armand's opinion on it. I would love to hear your opinion on all this. And I would also like to thank you for hitting the subscribe button and for sharing this video, for letting people know about it, for commenting, for watching all of my other videos. Every Wednesday, every Sunday, a lot of Fridays, I will put out a writing video. So check those out. Every morning I do a short. I do a coffee of the day. I drink a different coffee. I also do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and most Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm on YouTube Live at noon Eastern Standard Time for about 2 hours. We got a very a great chat in there with half a dozen people or more, people coming and going all the time, 20, 30 different people in and out. A lot of them making comments, a lot of us having conversations about these things and about random things. I love to just, somebody asks a question, I'm like, let's Google that. Let's find out what some of the best cereals were from the 70s and 80s. So completely random. So come in and hang out with us. And I appreciate all of the support. I had no idea that I would get so many subscribers and that I would get so many views of these videos. And I really greatly appreciate all of you. So keep watching, keep shining.